Hi everyone, welcome back to the Novel Nomad and welcome to my Cloak and Dagger Christmas 2022 TBR. So these are the ones I have chosen to read. Hopefully I'm going to achieve that Sherlock level of excellence during Cloak and Dagger Christmas, but we shall see. I have picked a few to challenge myself and a few that have been sitting on my TBR a little bit long because I have been waiting for the hype to die down around some of them. But let's get into it. Now, of course, not all the prompts for Cloak and Dagger Christmas are related to books. Many of them are more activity based. So could you imagine trying to read 12 books in preparation lead up to Christmas? It's just going to be too much. So these are the ones that hopefully I get through in December, but let's get into the first one. Okay, so my selection for an alliterative title for Partridge in a Pear Tree is going to be Second Sister by Ho-Kei. So if you have probably been watching my account for a little while, you realize that I did read for a previous Cloak and Dagger Christmas The Borrowed, which was also by Ho-Kei. They are a writer from Hong Kong and most of their narrative is set in Hong Kong. And this in particular, once again, is set in Hong Kong and it's following a woman who jumped from a tower and it is all presumed that she died of suicide. However, her librarian sister knows better and she thinks something is dastardly underhand going on. So she teams up with a hacker who knows a little bit more than they should, and they team up and try to uncover the mystery of her sister's death. It sounds amazing. I'm so excited. I was very excited when I saw this come out because I hadn't seen anything from them in a while, and especially because they have to get translated as well. So Second Sister sounds so good. So prompt number 2, Two Turtle Doves, is to do a buddy read. And I'm actually reading The Hippopotamus Pool by Elizabeth Peters, number 8, I believe. Oh my goodness, it's an Amelia Peabody, and I have no idea what number it is. It is an Amelia Peabody, it might be around 8, I'm not sure, potentially. But yes, and the next one in the Amelia Peabody series that we're reading, we haven't read an Amelia Peabody for a little while. I tend to find them a little bit samey if you read them too close together. But yeah, this one sounds really fun. It was great to get it back in the mind of Amelia. She is hilarious. I do love her very much. Yes, I'll be buddy reading this with the absolutely magnificent Kate Howe. I'll link her channel down below, as well as with all the other hosts for Cloak and Dagger Christmas. So you can check out any of their videos and TBR videos. And yeah, I can't wait to get started on this one. So prompt number 3 is 3 French Hens, and that's to read a work that's translated from another language that's not your own, or perhaps someone who's written a book set or is based from a country that is not your own. And I'm being a bit sneaky here because when your country is Australia, there's so many crime writers, especially cozy crime writers, that are not based in your country. So instead of translated fiction, I'm going with not based in your country fiction, and I'm picking up a book and an author that I have not picked up before. I was attempting to read The Maltese Falcon, but that didn't happen. But I recently found a very, very old copy. I say old, it's like from the 2000s and 90s, so it's not that old. But it's an older copy of The Thin Man by Dashiell Hammet. And apparently this is really fun. So it's about these two people, a couple that kind of come together in this crime solving like detective series, and it's a man and a woman and they go into different areas, and apparently the banter is on point. So I am ready for this, and I have to read more Dashiell Hammet because he did actually work for the Pinkerton Detective Society, or agency I should say, in America, and so if he has such a lauded history within this area and everyone loves his crime and noir kind of series, I have to get into it. Next we have 5 Golden Rings, and that is to read a book with foil on the cover. Of course it doesn't have to be gold foil, it can be any color foil you like, but I am picking gold because look at that foil shininess. This is called The Honjin Murders. It's by Seishi Yokomizo, and it's actually a classic. It's translated from Japanese, and it is a classic crime. I believe it was written, when was this written? Oh my goodness. He was born in 1902. And so this one, I believe, it won the first Mystery of Writers Japan Award in 1948. So it sounds amazing. So it's set in 1937 in the village of Okamura, and they're preparing for like a grand wedding that's coming up. But there seems to be a masked mystery person that's roaming the streets and causing all type of chaos. And on the night of the murder, they hear an eerie scream and some music played afterwards. and all they find is a samurai sword thrust into the snow with blood all over it. So it's like the mystery of like who died and also who did it. So this is a detective novel, Japanese detective novel, and I'm so excited to finally read this one. This has been on my shelf for a little bit and on my to read list because it has been like floating around on my Goodreads, and I'm very excited to read this one. So prompt number 8 for 8 Dingos Dancing is a wild card read, and I am bringing a little bit of fantasy into my mix, and I'm going to be reading Susanna Clarke's Piranesi. It has a bit of a mystery element. So Piranesi basically works in this grand archive of sorts, and someone comes along and keeps asking for information, and slowly but surely, as Piranesi is finding the information for this person, something horrible starts to make itself revealed. And so I'm very excited to read this. It's got, you know, mixed reviews. I think it's not for everyone, although I absolutely adored Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. It is a chunker of a book, but I loved it. It's absolutely beautifully written. And this one I'm very excited to finally read. I was holding off on this one just make sure the hype died down, because I knew if I read it with the hype and I read it really fast, it wouldn't be the same experience. So I'm giving myself time, and I think the fantasy element is going to go so well with Christmas. So prompt number 10 is 10 Lords a Leaping, and that is to read a book with nobility in it. And anything to get a Sulari Gentill on my Cloak and Dagger reading list. And I'll be reading the next in the Roland Sinclair mysteries, and that is book number 5, Gentlemen Formally Dressed. And poor Roland and the group managed to survive Nazi Germany. They were down in Munich during very early Nazi Germany days, and they've kind of come back across to London, where they get kind of mixed up in another murder investigation, but this time there's British aristocracy in the mix. So I'm taking that as a nobility like caveat from that. But yes, I'm very excited to read another Roland Sinclair. I love her writing, and I love the way she really gives depth to the characters. And the mystery itself is really fascinating, but it's very character based, and that's what I love about it. You love the characters, and that's why you stick around. And the last like bookish kind of prompt that we have is 12 Drummers Drumming. And that is to listen to a true or fictional narrative. And that could be podcast, audiobook, radio play, anything that you like. And I'm going with audiobook. And I'm reading something in an audiobook that I feel works better in the audiobook kind of genre, and that is a thriller, because when I'm reading a thriller, I kind of just like skim read all the way down and glance ahead, and I'm like, oh God, I spoiled it for myself. So to prevent that, I do audiobooks. And I'm going to pick up one that I actually saw the author at one of the Writers' Weeks held in Adelaide, and that is Before You Knew My Name by Jacqueline Bubbitts. And this has got a lot of hype, like really big international sales. It's set in New York, and you kind of follow from the narrative of the murdered victim in her like afterlife kind of thing, and she's kind of following the people around and also the detective around, and apparently it's amazing. So I think it's going to be great. And I think the thriller element is going to be really good, and I'm excited to listen to this one. It's I do love listening to audiobooks that have amazing accents, and of course having that classic New Yorker accent is going to be brilliant, because it's so distinct, and it will just take me back to when I was in New York a few years ago. So it's going to be really great. And I hope that I don't accidentally skip ahead at all. It's hard to do that in an audiobook, and I find myself doing it a lot more on the page. I look across. I try not to, but I feel like thrillers, you're just too excited. And so it happens. But yes, very excited to listen to this one. All right, so that is my TBR for Cloak and Dagger Christmas. I'm so excited to watch all your TBR videos and to hear what the other hosts will be reading and doing, or if they've planned anything fun and exciting for the other prompts that are not quite bookish based, but actually more activity based. Otherwise, I am actually off to New Zealand, or actually when this video is up, I am in New Zealand at the moment. If you follow me on my Instagram, you've probably seen a plethora of stories of me having an amazing time in New Zealand, but I had to very quickly preemptively film these videos so they'll be up on time, and I'll be back in Australia, back with my books on the 2nd of December. So perfect timing to get into that festive spirit. So happy reading. I will see you all next time. And by that, I mean, I will see you all in Cloak and Dagger Christmas. Okay, bye.